stay-at-home dad, watching Disney movies he never had. His daughter digs through all the VHS, crushing the classics in a princess dress. Informed like Scuttle, Kurt's got your ticket, making it real like Jiminy Cricket. Most are off the Captain Hook, but if the Tweedledum, he'll be taking more shots than Bambi's mom. Leaves him raised like Simba, or cracked like the beast dishes. He'll show you a whole new world, you won't need 3 wishes. Stay-at-home Disney dad.
So I've been lying about having seen the original Toy Story for 23 years now. Confessing to a sin that spanned over 2 decades should probably leave me with a sense of profound weightlessness, but claiming you've seen a movie when you actually haven't is about as victimless of a crime as possible. So sadly, I feel the same volume of indifference as I did when I started this. I should also note that in the late 90s, lying about being a fan of the movie Toy Story was less of a social experiment and more of a social coping tactic. In 1995, I was in high school. My favorite movie was The Crow, and believe me, my teenage tastes were way too sophisticated for kids' movies. A few years later, suddenly my circle and every other circle of newly independent young adults would lose complete control of their jaw muscles when I would admit that I was indeed some sort of bizarre living in a bunker unicorn, as I had never seen Toy Story. The helpful part of this ruse was the fact that the synopsis is so simple that, okay, author's note, I'll challenge myself right now. I'll sum up the plot of Toy Story in as few words as possible. Here goes. Andy's old favorite toy is jealous of his new favorite toy. Bam, 11 words. I dare any of you to find another movie easier to paraphrase, and I immediately disqualify The Passion of the Christ. Having skipped over the first, my only gateway to Toy Story 2 was when a bizarre and troubling version of Darren Aronofsky's Requiem for a Dream trailer popped up on YouTube, recut with the footage of Toy Story 2 over top the original audio. It's as seamless as it is disturbing, and I couldn't stop watching it. If you haven't seen Requiem for a Dream, I admire how easily you must sleep at night, but either way, I'll post the video in the comments for your viewing unpleasure. And now I pop Toy Story 2 into the VCR that my toddler picked out. It starts with Buzz Lightyear battling Emperor Zurg in space. Now I know these are toys, so there's got to be some sort of opening misdirection scene, and sure enough, it's actually the T-Rex playing a game about Buzz Lightyear. What is my problem with this movie? I'm 6 minutes in and I'm already being super judgy. In my own defense, this is technically a Disney sequel, so I'm bracing myself to have the usual burning dirt rubbed in my eyes. Andy is playing with Woody and breaks Woody's arm. Woody is placed on the shelf where broken toys are forgotten, and we meet a sad little penguin who has been shelved for months now, accepting his never actually going to be repaired fate. Okay, this is good stuff. Then Andy leaves for camp and his mom begins a garage sale, which sends all the toys into screaming hysterics as they don't want to end up in the 25-cent box. Now I'm imagining all my unloved toys and broken toys that ended up in garage sales over the course of my childhood and wonder whatever became of them. This has made me very happy. There are all sorts of close calls where mom grabs the toy beside or the book underneath the main character, and she finally takes the penguin off the shelf, who locks eyes with Woody as he, the penguin, descends into the dreaded 25-cent box. I'm caught off guard how emotional this exchange is. The look on that penguin's face is dead man walking. I'm officially big time invested in this movie. It's winning me over. Woody, broken arms and all, risks being seen, sneaks through the busy garage sale, saves the penguin, but ends up being seen by a little girl who scoops him up and wants to buy him. But the toddler's mom calls Woody old and gross, leaves him on the table where a creepy toy collector starts salivating over finding an original Woody doll in decent condition, complete with his hat. A ghost in that classic Uncle Sam wants you pose hovers above my television, pointing his accusatory finger right at me, and I'm uncomfortable. I've scored a lot of rare collectibles from clueless Rube's garage sales over the years, and I'm defensive how spot on the portrayal of this collector's "I just found something super valuable for next to nothing" glee is. Andy's mom wonders how Woody ended up in the garage sale and claims he isn't for sale. The collector waits until she's distracted and straight up steals Woody. This guy needs an original Woody to complete his collection of the entire Woody's Roundup Gang toy series based on the hit show from the 1950s, but only so he can sell the complete set to a museum in Tokyo, Japan. The collector takes the other toys out of storage, and we meet Woody's TV horse Bullseye, Cowgirl Jessie, and Prospector Stinky Pete. The toys are thrilled to be out of storage and finally going to museum where they will be free and on display to their fans. Woody crushes their dreams by telling them that he's got to bounce and get back to Andy. The collector returns and carelessly pulls Woody's broken arm clean off and frantically takes Woody to an old toy repairman who polishes and sews and paints Woody to look brand new. Really sad shot of the senior seamstress running a paintbrush over the name Andy written on Woody's foot. Buzz recognizes the collector that stole Woody from an ad on TV because the collector owns his own toy shop. Buzz leads the toys on a rescue mission to get Woody back. Hijinks ensues. Back at the collector's apartment, Woody is getting ready to leave, but Jessie is really upset because she doesn't want to go back into the never-ending darkness of storage ever again. Trying to change Woody's mind, Jessie tells a heartbreaking story about how the little girl that once owned her and loved her grew up and stopped playing with dolls. But then one glorious day, after being left forgotten under the bed for years, the little girl, now grown up, found her former favorite thing in the world and took Jessie for a drive. It was the greatest day of Jessie's life, and all was well again until the now grown-up little girl left Jessie curbside in a donation box. My heart actually hurts now for a number of reasons. Number one, the montage of abandonment is the first 5 minutes of up depressing. And number two, this scene with Jessie sitting on the windowsill with her knees up and her head in her crossed arms was the shot they used in the Toy Story 2 Requiem for a Dream trailer mashup I talked about, where Marion says, "Getting the money isn't a problem, Harry. You don't know what I'm going to have to do to get it." Now I can no longer keep Jessie from Toy Story and Marion from Requiem as two separate characters. This is going to be problematic and going to get worse before it gets better. Woody decides this is an inevitable ending to his own life and does a complete 180, agrees to stay with the collector's collection and go to the Japanese museum with Jessie, Bullseye, the horse, and Prospector Stinky Pete, who is hilariously still unopened in his original box. As for the rest of the toys, their quest to find Woody takes them to the collector's toy store, where Buzz gets replaced by another toy Buzz, and our Buzz ends up tied down in a box on a shelf, lost in rows upon rows of hundreds of other identical Buzz Lightyear toys. This is terrifying in a Matrix kind of way. This is also some heavy stuff. Our Buzz eventually frees himself and topples a display of Buzz Lightyear toys to trigger the automatic door sensor and accidentally releases a toy of his arch nemesis, Emperor Zurg, in the process. The rest of the toys finally locate Woody just as the real Buzz and fake Buzz come face to face, and I'm expecting the usual, they fight, they are identical, no one can tell them apart, which is the real one plot device, but nope. The real Buzz Lightyear just holds up his foot and proudly displays the word Andy written in marker on the sole of his boot. The rescue is a bust though, because Woody has made up his mind to stay. Feeling betrayed, the toys give him much deserved attitude and leave, as Buzz reminds Woody the toys are meant to be played with. Later, Woody is watching a commercial with a little boy playing with the toys and realizes Buzz was right. He convinces the rest of the Roundup gang to come home with him and be Andy's toys and get played with. Everyone is excited until Stinky Pete does a full WWE heel turn and has this exchange with Jessie. Jessie: "Prospector, this isn't fair." Stinky Pete: "Fair, I'll tell you what's not fair. Spending a lifetime on a dime store shelf watching every other toy be sold." Wow, now I'm imagining what life would be like being an unpopular toy. This movie is spinning some previously unspun wheels in my brain, and I'm brought back to how complete my childhood became when my mom bought me the Batman and Joker action figure from the 1989's Batman movie, and how many times I laughed at the third and final action figure they released for that movie toy line, Bob the Goon. Yes, Bob the Goon. Who? You ask? Exactly, I reply. Even as Zellers and Toy City filled their discount bins with $2 Bob the Goon action figures, I wanted nothing to do with them, openly mocking what I called the worst toy ever made. Author's note: these days now Bob the Goon demands big cash on eBay, and now as nostalgia kicks in, I'll probably never be able to complete my set because I'm cheap. Stinky Pete stops Woody from leaving, the toys get packed up and transported to the airport, and pretty entertaining rescue sequence plays out with Bullseye, Buzz Lightyear, and Marion, Jessie. As Woody pulls her from the suitcase, I only hear, "I always thought you were the most beautiful girl I ever seen. That makes me feel real good." Oh, yeah, Requiem. Stinky Pete ends back in the airport and stuffed into a little girl's backpack, where a Barbie tells him he will love the little girl because, quote, "she's an artist," and then the Barbie does this creepy head turn to face Pete, revealing the other side of her face is covered with a random paint and like a Tyson tattoo. This is actually a PG version of what the Joker did to his girlfriend in the 1989 Batman. Andy gets home from camp and sees all his toys, old and new, waiting for him on his bed. Andy figures his mom arranged them like that and bought him a Jessie and Bullseye. He happily begins playing with them. Woody and Buzz have a moment where Woody says he's okay with Andy growing up and becoming uninterested in him, as he now knows toys will always have each other. Roll credits. And then there's a credit scene of the toys flubbing their lines, which is pretty funny. Wow, this movie was so much better than I expected, and it's ironically now the high I'll be chasing as I continue my journey through the Disney VHS library. Fulfilled, I curl up on my couch and cradle the empty Toy Story 2 white clamshell, not unlike Marion with her bag of goodies at the end of Requiem for a Dream. And wait a minute, Maybe the parallels continue. Maybe this movie was my reward after suffering through Peter Pan and Melody Time.
That's what I think about.
What do you think?
What we have is a concern about Curtis Anderson. His interviewing style is not the best. His personal appearance is not the best. I was wondering if the man has some kind of a hole